Alright, here we are for the first round. And I think we've got a keep here. I mean, we've got 2 of our premium 4-drops and some ways to sort of protect them, so not going to mulligan. Wouldn't mind seeing a Magma Spray or something come off the top here to just help us stay alive, but actually a land's not too bad either. Depends a lot here on what kind of a deck our opponent has, because we have the type of draw that can keep King Macar alive through multiple combat steps potentially here, depending on what our opponent's up to. All right, he's missing land drop, so that's good. Unfortunately for us, we're not really doing a lot. Of course, if you guys would like an invite to the Limited Resources clan, like I'm talking with our Australian friend over here, very easy to do. Just send me a message and I will get you an invite. All right, so the question is, which one do I lead with here? So if I lead with King Macar and I get to attack with them, then my opponent essentially can't play creatures to deal with them. But if my opponent has a removal spell, like say goes land, Banishing Light, and I play Bladetusk Boar, they really have to take care of Bladetusk Boar immediately as well. So I'm actually going to go for Bladetusk Boar just as a more assertive plan anyway, and equally must deal with basically as King Macar. That's not going to do it. So battle mode. And yeah, I'll go for King Macar here. It's tempting to go for Dreadbringer Lampads, but I think it's actually better to go for King Macar first, because let's say he goes Swamp Black Creature, I can play Lampads and get King Macar in there anyway. All right. Too many missed land drops for our opponent to hang in. We didn't get to see a lot of what was going on, but I do have the feeling that these 2 Magma Sprays and this Anger of the Gods are going to be very good against the Loyal Pegasus deck, basically. Cards I might consider: Loyal Diadem. God, I always forget. I'm so bad with that one name. You know, if you play it, oh, there we go. I think I want Viper's Kiss in here. Maybe even a Rotted Hulk. Like, I think we kind of want to shields up a little bit against this deck and kind of lean on things like Anger of the Gods and like King Macar to kind of get us through. I mean, I think we're fairly well positioned here, but I don't think I want like a Bloodcrazed Hoplite. I mean, yeah, sometimes it can steal a counter, but it's generally doesn't tussle too well with their big stuff. Probably want a Rotted Hulk over a Bladetusk Boar here, potentially. It really depends. That one I'm not sure about, because Borderland Minotaur, is big enough on its own to rumble with a lot of different things. Cerberus can be decent against them because it has essentially first strike against like any 2/1s it wrestles well with. Same thing with like Centaur. It just depends on what his game plan is. So let's go with this build for now. Bring in a Viper's Kiss for a Bloodcrazed Hoplite and see where this takes us. This is an absolute snap keep. We can put ourselves in a position where we get to Anger of the Gods on turn 3 or 4 and just completely wipe out our opponent's board potentially. And we've got nice cleanup plays here too. Oh, Rotted Hulk's not a terrible draw. I'd like to just start seeing some lands come off the top of the deck here, but this isn't too bad. Opponent isn't doing anything, which is nice. And he's going to play an Eagle of the Watch, which we'll probably just take 1 hit from. Let's see if we draw a land. We do not, but we draw Magma Spray, which is really nice. Yeah, we're definitely just going to take a hit from the Eagle here. And if he goes to get greedy on the Eagle, then we'll Magma Spray it if we have to. But ideally, he just plays, let's say he attacks us for 2 and then plays Staunch-Hearted Warrior. That's probably our best case scenario. All right, just a Loyal Pegasus. Yeah, I think we just need to pull the trigger here. I mean, we've got a Magma Spray and a Viper's Kiss in our hand. Two cards that are really good at taking out the threats that we were just facing, but Anger of the Gods does get worse the longer the game goes. Nyxborn Wolf. Yeah, well, we're going to take a whack from the Nyxborn Wolf, but land or not, we get to just pass the turn back here and leave up what looks like Servant of Tymaret regeneration mana, but will probably just be Necrobite mana, depending on what happens. But in this turn, we're just taking 5. It actually seems just fine. Annoying, but we do have a backup plan. Was just leaving this thing back if we need to. Let's see if this little snake can hold off the mighty beast here. If he plays just like an enchantment every turn for the rest of the game, then it gets a little awkward for us. If he just attacks, we just block. I mean, it signals that he's got some type of trick or whatever, but it's worth the block. Yeah, Anger of the Gods very good against him. So far, he's played 4 creatures this game, and individually it kills all of them. So if we don't find a bunch of lands here and end up losing this game, we can lean on it a little bit, though. Now that he's seen it, he will be presumably playing around it at least a little bit. Sky Spear Cavalry. All right, don't mind that. And let's spray that. Normally I'd like try to get a little greedier with it, but we want to make sure we use up our mana in a situation like this. All right, we hit our 4th mana, which is nice. Interesting, we can bluff attack with the Servant of Tymaret. If he blocks, we can Necrobite to get rid of the Alseids and knock the Nyxborn Wolf off. Which we can then Viper's Kiss at a later turn, or even just play a Rotted Hulk and just stare at him. We can also just not attack with it at all and just cast Bladetusk Boar and start beating down, or even just cast Rotted Hulk, although it doesn't match up favorably against this, so I think we're going to have to lean on the Chosen here. Would we trade Necrobite for Harvest Guard Alseids? Yeah, I think we probably would, so I'm going to battle here. If he doesn't block, we free roll the drain. But if we can turn our Necrobite, I mean, into what's got to be considered a wide open turn, like there are 2 cards that matter here. There's God's Willing and a Johnny's Presence, but he wouldn't have F6'd with Sky Spear Cavalry if he had either of those. So we can pretty safely assume that he does not have either of those. Figure this out. And I mean, he knows we've got 6 spells in our hand. Yeah, he's gonna call. I don't mind. But this 5/4 is definitely annoying enough that I'd like to trade my Necrobite for it here and leave him with just the Wolf. Especially because the Wolf just doesn't do much here. Like, we're going to take 3 from it, and then we can play like a Rotted Hulk that it has a hard time getting through. We can leave up Servant of Tymaret. We can just kill it with Viper's Kiss. I'm just not that concerned about it. A lone wolf. Basically, our game plan is to set up some type of defense where the wolf can't get through and then start hitting him with this. Yeah, so we're going to take this hit from it because the Pharika's Chosen has a much bigger application. Like, let's say he plays, Centaur Battlemaster and then puts something on it, and we're sitting here with stupid Rotted Hulk and he's got like a 9/9, and we're just really pissed because we decided to preserve our life total when we were at 14. Now we're going to be at 11 and then go back up to 12. So this makes a lot of sense. And we draw Magma Spray anyway. All right, so let's fight. Play the Hulk Daddy and say go. So the shields are up, and now it's time to Bladetusk Boar moving forward here. Yeah, that's not going to do anything. This Hulk is just going to be sweet against him in general. We can't Disciple of Phenax. I totally would. I'm sure this is a land, but I want to get it out of his hand. But as it stands, we did not draw the land we needed, so we're just going to Bladetusk Boar and ship. Ye old turn. There's no point in doing that bluff attack with the Servant because he just snaps it off with Swordwise Centaur, forcing the regeneration and meaning that we don't get to play anything else for the turn, so I'm not going to play with fire, just try to get an extra point or two at damage. Still going to leave the Chosen up. I mean, I would trade it for either on an attack, but I'd much rather just have it sit here and block. Next turn, I'll probably start battling with it. Satyr Grove Dancer is going to make Nyxborn Wolf, or actually he should put it here. Yeah, he makes that thing a 4/3, which is interesting. Still not big enough to get by Rotted Hulk, so it's not really like super relevant here. But it is interesting because it means that our Magma Spray no longer kills the Swordwise Centaur, which kind of stinks for us, but whatever. And now we're not going to attack with Chosen because he would just trade it for this, and that's a bad trade for us. So we're going to battle with the Boar. And sadly ship the turn. I mean, I guess if we wanted, we could Viper's Kiss away the Nyxborn Wolf right now. But man, if he untaps and plays like a flyer, you know, like an Akron Skyguard or something, we would potentially regret that. I guess the Magma Spray kills it, though. Yeah, that seems fine. Having the Magma Spray backup's pretty nice. Yeah, one thing about getting mana screwed for most of the game means that we're sitting on all spells. Chronicler, oh, it actually gets value too. That's annoying. Yes, quite annoying actually. Doesn't really change the board much, but you know, him building out his board and drawing a card is pretty annoying for us. Don't think he has any attacks here though. I think we're looking to be in a really nice spot. I mean, we've got extra removal in our hand that we haven't even really needed to use. All right, Noble Quarry, that will get used. We're definitely going to Magma Spray that, but we're not doing it now. We are going to wait until he attacks, because then we get to just destroy him. Or at least get him pretty good. Because he can try to attack for 8 damage here, losing the Noble Quarry if he wants, or he can try to build out his board further. But either way, we're going to spray it. If we spray and he doesn't have anything, we'll probably block here to trade, and then we'll put Servant and Rotted Hulk on Chronicler of Heroes and regenerate Servant and have enough mana to still Magma Spray so we can actually make those blocks. It seems pretty reasonable. He does have 2 cards in hand though, so things can get a little bit wonky for us, but as it sits, Bladetusk Boar's got 3 turns before he's dead, and we still haven't drawn our 5th land somehow. You know, so we can start throwing around Asphyxiates and Disciple of Phenaxes and such if we get lucky enough to draw that land. It depends on kind of how he's feeling. I mean, the writing's on the wall for him, so he's got to be careful here. All right, I think everybody's going to come in. So Magma Spray this and see if that resolves first. If it doesn't, then we take 4, 7, 8, and we go down to 5, but we get a regeneration, so we go to 6, and it did anyway. All right, so I'm just going to make those blocks as I described before. That way we kill everything. We keep all of our stuff except for this Chosen, which trades for a perfectly acceptable trade there, the Swordwise Centaur. And if somehow, some way, we're able to actually draw a second black source, then basically we completely lock up the game, at least as far as control goes. If he finds a way to kill our boar, then so be it. But I mean, he might have a combat trick here. One doesn't really matter here, unless it's a Johnny's Presence. If he has one, he's got Nature's Panoply. Oh, sure. That seems fine. I mean, that doesn't really change anything here. I mean, this thing doesn't die, obviously, but like from our perspective, we lose no creatures outside of the trade that we already wanted to make anyway. Wow, what else does he have? Why wouldn't he kick this and put a counter on Grove Dancer just to get in for one, I wonder? We're getting him to 1 here. If we want 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 1 from the untap. And so then we would have him at lethal. He's already at 7 after we get to untap with this, unless he has Excoriate here. Oh, he does have Excoriate, but he's not doing it on that Servant. All right, well, we get to play a game here, at least it seems. And we drew our swamp. So he's got no cards in hand, so there's no point in really doing much of that. Can we lose? No, we can't lose next turn, so I think we attack with both. So let's get Dreadbringer Lampads down. give this thing Intimidate or whatever, and just ship with both. This puts him to virtual 3, meaning that if we draw a land, we can archetype, give this thing Intimidate, battle. Not a bad draw for him. Not a good one either, though. I guess he can still get out of this. He's in a terrible position, though, now. Yeah, I'm not going to block that. This card's more important. And he's got a Scorpion. So now we land and we win. Hoop. No, it's a Disciple. But that does not mean that our options are out here. We can asphyxiate this, which doesn't do anything. It's probably still a reasonable play. Basically just try to keep as much of the defense away. I think, let's see, if we attack with everything, he blocks here. Yeah, this seems good, actually. He can kill our servant, but then he has to chump block here and he takes 2 anyway. Yeah. I'm just going to get aggressive. We're at 10. It's going to be really tough for him to actually kill us next turn. I can't really think of a card that just kills us. And he has to make at least 1 block here. I mean, this is even better for us because he left one of the ways that we can get at him without even attacking. Yeah, so we're just whittling away. And then we just attack with both. Even if he has Divine Verdict, we get to just regenerate this thing if he blocks. And I think he's just taking it here. All right. Okay, so we got by the first round, and we'll see what this weird red-black deck can do in the second round.